Hi, Cherie. All right, lesson 1 is casting on. There are numerous ways to cast on and bind off, so many that they've actually written books, but all you need to worry about now is getting stitches on your needle to start. These are called DPNs, double pointed needles, only because I don't have any straight needles. If you wanted to get DPNs, you can just put a rubber band or something on one end to keep the stitches from coming off, and you'll know which end you're working on. You will be always knitting the stitches from your left hand needle onto your right hand needle. So to start, you need to load your left hand needle with stitches. You start with a slip knot, which I just make like this. You can make one any way you want. I make an X on the bottom of the fingers, parallel lines on the top, pull the back one from behind, grab it and pull. But however you make a slip knot is fine. Snug it up. Now, to cast on the way I do, it's just to get stitches on, very easy. You slip your needle, your right hand needle, up behind your left hand needle through the loop that you've made, and it forms an X with the left hand needle in the front. You wrap your using yarn around the back needle counterclockwise, and you're pulling that new thread through the loop that's already on the needle, so you're making a new loop out of that old loop. Then you pull it out, give yourself some slack. It's flexible. You can move it back and forth. Give yourself some slack. Dip into that needle and move it onto your left hand needle. Now you have two. And you keep repeating that. Up, behind, around the back, under, pull. Scoop it onto your left hand needle, top to bottom, and you've got 3 stitches. Right needle, up, behind, wrap your yarn around the back, scoop that loop under with the right hand needle, pull it out so that you can grab it with your left hand needle and slip it on. Do this until you have about 20 stitches. I'm only going to do a few now just for the sake of time on the video. And then once you have your stitches, always you are going to be working with your yarn down in the front. If you switch your yarn around like this, you'll see 2 threads here and you'll start increasing inadvertently. So keep your yarn down in the front. You'll see the little nubs there in front and you'll know you're going right. Now the knitting. Middle-aged frog throat. Needle, right hand needle, up, behind, around the back, under, and now to knit, you take that whole thing off. You've got the knack. Up, behind, around the back, under, off, you've got the knack. Up, behind, around the back, under, and off. I think you know how to crochet. Basically what you're doing with knitting is crocheting, but you're connecting all those chains side to side. So when you crochet, you're pulling a loop through an old loop when you make a chain, and that's all knitting is. But those chains are connected side to side. Now I've worked all of my stitches off my left hand needle onto my right hand needle. I swap hands. Again, make sure that your yarn, don't get confused with your tail. That's going to be gotten rid of later. If you have your yarn flipped around, you're going to see 2 threads here, and you'll knit them instead of the 1 that you should be seeing, and you'll end up with the wrong number of stitches. So keep your yarn down in front, all your stitches facing down. You take your right hand needle up behind the left hand needle. You wrap your yarn counterclockwise around the back. You catch that loop, and then you take the old loop off with the new one onto the right hand needle. Up, behind, around the back, under, off. You've got the knack. Up, behind, around the back, under, off. You've got the knack. Now if you keep doing this, after a few thousand rows, you're going to have yourself a garter stitch scarf. This is called garter stitch. The first one will look a little wonky because of your cast on row, not to worry. I'm just going to do one more row here so that you can see the pattern you're going to end up with. Up, behind, around the back, under, off, you've got the knack. Up, behind, around the back, under, grab that loop and take both loops off. Catch the loop, off. Wrap it, catch it, off. This is knitting. If you know this, you can make absolutely anything. Now, you don't want to split your yarn. You don't want your yarn to wrap around twice so that you keep your, it might be good in the beginning to count your stitches every now and then, make sure you're working right, but then you get these little bumps. That's the garter stitch. And again, you want to see that little bump, hold your yarn down. If you do this, you see no bump and you see 2 threads. You don't want that. Down in the front. And that's it. That is knitting. Let me know if you have any questions. I don't know where the camera is, but can you see me, Andrew? Bye. Bye.